Hello ARMY BTS lover. Behind the glittering world stage and the lights that never go out, there is a story that is rarely known to many. A story of two hearts that find each other on a long journey full of laughter, tears, struggle, and faith. This is the true story of how Jungkook, BTS's golden magne, finally reveals her love for Park Jimin, a figure who has become more than just a group mate, more than just a best friend, but rather someone who has been part of his Pulse.it. All started in their early years together, when BTS's name wasn't as big as it is now. When they were kids who dreamed big, sleeping in the same small space, sharing food, sharing dreams, even shared concerns about an uncertain future. In the middle of it all, Jungkook, who was still a teenager, began to feel differently about Jimin. He himself did not immediately notice it. At first, it was just admiration for Jimin's sincerity, in his perseverance, in his smile that seemed able to melt all the fatigue of the world. Jimin was always there for her. When Jungkook has trouble adjusting, Jimin was the first to reach out. When Jungkook feels less confident in his singing skills, Jimin was the first to pat her on the shoulder and say that she was great. The bond grows slowly, without coercion, without big words. Only through togetherness, shared laughter, and the silence they share when the world feels too heavy. However, over time, Jungkook's taste grows, beyond just friendship. There are small moments that mark that change, like when he was unknowingly looking for Jimin among the crowd, or when his heart beats faster every time Jimin laughs at his silly jokes, or when the world seemed to slow down when Jimin smiled at him. It was as if there were only two of them in an instant. Of course, Jungkook did not dare to directly express his feelings. There is fear destroys what they already have. He was afraid that the wrong words could change their relationship forever. So he chose to love Jimin in silence, showing his feelings through small actions. Pay attention to Jimin more than others, make sure Jimin eats well. She didn't want to show Jim how important he was to her. However, the feeling is impossible to hide forever. There was something in the way Jungkook looked at Jimin that people around them were slowly realizing. The other members may never say directly, but they could definitely feel a different warmth between the two. ARMY, who had always been observant, also began to notice their small interactions, light touches, a gaze that lasts a little longer, a smile that only the two of them could understand. The turning point came after their big concert in Seoul. That night, after all the applause and cheers, BTS gathered in the waiting room, still wrapped in the energy of the show. However, for Jungkook, everything felt like a fog. He knew it was time to express how he felt. He couldn't keep hiding it, can't keep pretending that Jimin is just a friend to her. That night, when everyone is back in their rooms, Jungkook searches for Jimin. He found her on the balcony of the hotel, sitting alone, enjoying the evening breeze. Jungkook approached, his heart pounding so hard as if it could burst at any moment. He stood behind Jimin for a few moments, courage that comes from nowhere. "Aren't you cold?" Jungkook's voice broke in silence. Jimin turned and smiled. "A little. I like nights like this." Jimin relaxed. Jungkook sat beside her, looked at the starry sky. For a moment, no one spoke. There was only the sound of wind and a heartbeat that deafened Jungkook himself. "There's something I want to say," finally Jungkook spoke, his voice trembling. Jimin turned to her, waiting patiently. I don't know how to say it, but I think I love you," Jungkook said. Finally, the words that had been lingering in his heart for a long time. Time seemed to stop. Jimin looked at him, his eyes rounded in surprise. For a moment, Jungkook felt the world collapse around him. But then, Jimin smiled. A small, sincere smile that made Jungkook's whole world feel lighter. "I know," Jim said softly. "I've known for a long time." Tears welled up in Jungkook's eyes, not out of sadness, but out of relief. "You don't have to keep that secret to yourself anymore. It is no longer necessary to pretend." That night, they didn't talk much. No need. Everything has been said enough. They just sit side by side, their hands clasped each other, let the world go on without them. After that night, not much has changed in their daily lives in the eyes of the world. They keep looking professional, keep working hard. But there was something different in their gaze, in the attention they give each other. Something deeper, more real. Of course, the path they choose is not always easy. There are difficult times, fear of the assessment of the outside world, pressure from expectations, concerns about their careers. But they chose to stay standing together, choose each other, repeatedly, every day. Jungkook finds his strength in Jimin, and Jimin finds his peace in Jungkook. They are two different souls, but they complement each other in a way that only a loving heart can understand. For Jungkook, expressing his love for Jimin was the scariest and most liberating decision of his life. He didn't know what would happen next, but he knew one thing for sure. As long as Jimin was by his side, he could face anything. And for Jimin, hearing Jungkook finally express his feelings is like finding a home in the most unexpected place. A house that has always been there, waiting for him to come back. Their relationship remains a mystery to the world. They never openly talk about it in public, never give a label. But for them, labels don't matter. What matters is how they feel, what they know in their hearts. BTS continues to move forward, carving out history after history. But for Jungkook and Jimin, the greatest history they carve is unwritten history, a story of two hearts finding each other amidst the chaos of the world. A love born not by chance, but rather of the thousands of small choices they make every day to stay together. That love is the foundation of everything they do. That love that gives strength to the songs they sing, energy on the show they put on, sincerity in the smiles they give to the army around the world. And maybe, someday, when time has passed long enough, when the world has changed, they will tell this story in their own words. But for now, their story lives on in gazes, in laughter, in silence that speaks louder than 1,000 words. Because in the end, the purest love is love that does not need loud recognition. Love strong enough to endure in silence. Love is seen in the way someone holds your hand in the dark, whisper without words. I'm here. I'm always here. That's the true story of how Jungkook expressed his love for Jimin, a story of courage, trust, and love that grows unconditionally. A story that may not be told on the big stage, but living among the invisible little moments, between exhaled breaths in the middle of the night, and between heartbeats that can only be understood by two people who find a home in each other. The evening ended in comfortable silence, but their real story is just beginning. To understand how important the moment of disclosure is, we have to go back to previous years, to difficult times when everything is uncertain. When Jungkook first arrived in Seoul, he is just a shy boy from Busan. The sudden one is thrown into a harsh and demanding world. He doesn't know how to survive, doesn't know who to trust. But in the midst of that confusion, there was one figure who naturally caught his attention. Park Jimin, who although just arrived from Busan also, brings a different warmth. His smile seemed to erase the distance. His gentle demeanor made all the pressure a little more bearable. In times of heavy trainee, when rehearsals get late and uncertainty looms over their future, Jimin is one of the few people who always keeps an eye on Jungkook. If Jungkook looks exhausted, Jimin would quietly slip drinking water into Jungkook's hand. If Jungkook looks doubtful about his movements, Jimin will repeat the choreography many times with him, without ever complaining. Slowly, Jungkook finds comfort near Jimin. He learns to laugh more freely, learns to trust someone, learn that in the midst of all uncertainty, there is real kindness. But because of his age and immaturity at the time, Jungkook has yet to understand his own feelings.